Welcome back, everyone. This week in Level F, we will be covering lessons 73 through 76, and you will need warm-up practice sheet number 5, worksheets 61 through 64, the geometric solids, centimeter cubes, the geometry panels, 4-in-1 ruler, the Casio calculator, a meter stick, the math card games book, the corners deck, and the multiplication deck. In lesson 73, we will be learning about volume. The warm-up is on practice sheet 5, and it is a multivide. Remember, if your child likes to drag his feet on multivides, you can put it at the end of the lesson or somewhere else in your day when you're busy doing something and you need your child working on school. You will first review 1-dimensional, 2-dimensional, and 3-dimensional figures. You will discuss what a polyhedron is and how to identify it. Notice that a polyhedron is a 3-dimensional figure whose faces are polygons. This eliminates cones, cylinders, and spheres because a polygon has to have straight lines. And of course, a cone and cylinder and sphere have rounded edges. Next, you will look at pyramids and prisms. Now that you have reviewed all of the 3D shapes, you can work on volume. Notice that you can find the volume by first finding the area of the base and then multiplying that number by the height of the figure. Let's take a look at how we can demonstrate that.
Okay, we're working on the second page of lesson 73 under finding volumes, and it directs you to tell your child to make a 3x2 array from centimeter cubes. So I will go ahead and do that right now. And I want your child to notice what is the area of this. So 3 times 2 or 3x2 is 6. So the area of this base of the figure that we're going to be building is 6. Now it says to create 4 more of these 3x2 arrays and put them on top. I find it easier to just build as I go. If your child is really talented, they can go ahead and try to move them all at once. So now I'm on my second row. Here's my third. And then here's my fourth. Okay, so now the question is, what is the volume of this figure? I know that the base is 6 centimeters squared. And all I need to do to find the volume is to multiply the base times the height. And the height is 4. Okay, so 6 times 4 is 24. So the volume of this figure is 24 cubic centimeters. So let's take a look at what the formula for the volume is. Okay, so V for volume equals a capital B times H. Now that capital B is different from a lowercase b. A lowercase b would just be the base. For example, if you were measuring a triangle and you'd want to know what that base measurement is. But this capital B stands for the area of the base of a 3D figure. Okay, so that is already the width times the length. For example, in what we just did, that 3x2 array, this capital B is 6, and the height was 4. So my answer was 24. I just wanted to make sure you're not confused about the capital B. That is the area of the base.
After your child completes the worksheet, you can ask the in-conclusion questions and play distribution corners, which is P37 in the math card games book. In lesson 74, we will be working with volume of prisms and learn what the term nut means. The warm-up is the second multivide on practice sheet 5. You will also review what a prism is. In lesson 73, your child worked with centimeter cubes. This lesson, the prisms made will be much bigger by using the geometry panels. If you've never used these before, let me show you how these work.
Okay, so on the first page of lesson 74, under worksheet 62, problem 1, it asks your child to think what a net of a solid is. The net of a solid is the connected faces of that solid laid out flat. And these are the square geometry panels. You also have triangular ones and pentagon ones and hexagon ones. But for this exercise, we're using the squares. And so what we're going to do is lay out, I'm turning them over because we're going to eventually connect them. Lay out the net, which is described in the lesson. The document camera won't show you all of the pieces, but you can look at the lesson book to see what it would look like. And then what you're going to do, there would be 2 more on each end, 3 more on each side. And what you're going to do is you're going to connect them with rubber bands. So let me show you how that works. If you are starting off with a new set, you're going to want to fold the edges up gently so that when you connect them with the rubber bands, it's easier. So here, I'll just show you how to connect a couple of pieces. So I would put them back to back and then take a rubber band and hook it over the little notched out pieces here. And let's say we're going to do one more. So I'd open this up, put it back to back, and go like that. So then you can see that eventually, well, here we could do a triangular prism this way, and we could have 2 triangular pieces on each end, right? In this lesson, you're actually going to be making a cube. So we can do one more here. And then you would have 2 more pieces to attach top and bottom. So let's open this up. You would place another rubber band here, and then you would place a piece here and here to complete the cube. Of course, before you fold these pieces up into a cube, you're going to lay them flat in the net. The rubber bands will be attached to several of the sides, and then when you fold it up into the structure that you're making, you would attach those side pieces with rubber bands.
Okay, as your child works through the worksheet, he or she can use the geometry panels to create the net before solving the problem. Once that's done, ask the in conclusion question and play distribution corners again. In lesson 75, there is a correction for books printed before February 15th of 2018. So please look at the link in the description to make those corrections before starting this lesson. During this lesson, we will be finding the volumes of some of those geometric solids that we looked at earlier. The warm-ups are on worksheet 63. Next, you'll be working through the first few questions in problem 1 together as you ask guiding questions. And those, of course, are in the lesson book. So just ask the questions and move along through the problem. Some of the base areas on the chart are actually printed onto the chart for problem 1 because your child hasn't been told how to find those areas yet. But given the base area, the volume is easily found. For problem 2, your child could use the colored tiles to replicate the figure of the stairs if he or she would find that helpful. After the worksheet is complete, ask the in conclusion questions and play slower multiplication card speed game, which is P30 in the Math Card Games book. We also have a video about it on the Right Start website. Lesson 76 also has a correction. If your book was printed before April 11th of 2018, please visit the corrections link to fix that before starting this lesson. We will be working on volume problems with various units. You will want to build a cube made out of the square geometry panels that we just went over, these, before you start the worksheet. Don't let your child see it before they've tried to imagine what a decimeter cube looks like for problem 1. So of course they saw it in the previous lesson, but for today, just bring it out after they've had time to imagine what a decimeter cube looks like. There are 6 problems on the worksheet, and at first they may seem pretty easy, but give your child time to think through the answers. Visualizing what's happening in the problem often helps, or your child may want to draw a diagram of the problem. Ask the in conclusion questions and play slower multiplication card speed again today. Just a reminder, if your child is a struggling learner, you may adapt these lessons to meet your child's needs. So whether that's being a scribe for your child or giving your child the formulas, you can always adapt these lessons to meet your child's needs. And you can also go slower or faster. Maybe you need to take 2 days on one lesson that happens to be particularly difficult. That is okay. All right, that's all for this week, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.